Check 1, 2. There we go. Hey, Tracy. Impromptu stream. Hey, Mr. Felix. Sleeping, eh? Tracy, you waking up or going to bed? Or is it the middle of the night where you are? Storm, hey there. It's lunch in the UK? Yep. The music is consistently mild. Consistently mild. I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt, man. Hey, Richard. Yeah, it is Tuesday. Hey, Lee Mitchell. From Perth. Is this your first time here? It's really... Isn't it the middle of the night there right now? You don't use the push 3 enough. Any grids are good. $8 p.m. All right, so 12. We're 12 hours apart. Okay, good to know. I will forget that, but you know. Hey, Jeff. You wanted an octave down for the tonic? The problem is I've got one synth bass already low, and so if I go an octave down, it'll just sound like a rubber band flapping. I just realized I left my tea in the kitchen. Oh. When doing chord changes, this is my opportunity to drink. I will say this, that chaos pad thing on the Korg multi-poly, which I thought was a gimmick, is a lot of fun. Because I can just reach up and sort of brush the surface and get some modulation across this synth sound. It is way more cool than I thought it was going to be. I agree, Jeff. Give it a loop. Give what a loop, Lee? Are you asking for a drum loop? Go get your tea. I know. I'd have to. Yeah, I know. It's out there. If I walk out there, the dog will be asking for attention and things like that. So I can survive. It's not a few seconds because I got to go out and reheat it probably. Oh, loop so I can get my tea. Good idea, but I appreciate that. I do have a rhythm loop sitting here waiting. Let's see. Let's bring it all back a bit. Good morning, Modern Muso. Triggered the old loop. Let's do a new one. Sometimes you just need a little unison. Did I change key? I did not. Well, I mean, from when? From the other day? From Sunday? No, I have not changed key from Sunday. Actually, yeah, no, I have, actually. I think I'm in D. Sometimes I have a lot of layers running in sort of this contrapuntal, many different patterns running. And I forget that sometimes just unison or close to unison is also good. Lee, the way the Novation grid's working is I have on every instrument track a MIDI transpose device, and they're all mapped to this grid of notes over here, so I can move around in scale degrees, and it moves everything. Basically diatonically transposes everything around. So it allows me to make chord changes and do a little bit more drama once I have patterns established. It is. It's the most fun of the techniques that I do. It doesn't look flashy because I'm not, I've already played, right? Synthesizers historically are like keyboard warrior instruments, right? You got to be blazing your fingers everywhere. And being able to do a global transposition is emotionally very gratifying for me, right? I like moving through the chords. And it allows me to improv changes without needing to can everything up front. There's nothing wrong with having canned sequences and chord progressions. But when I just want to, mess around, this works pretty well. Bring some of those other patterns and see if they still work. After this loops around, I'll bring the sort of softer plucks in and pull out the lead and see what happens. All right, let's also do this. Let's do that over to Moog. So later I'll be able to layer them together. Let's play with that for a minute. Do what I was gonna do. Just pull these out and bring the other ones back and see what happens. Now I want to keep that other bass in. Very muddy, that bass. It's like whop, whop, whop. It's like walking through a bog or something, but I like it. Hey, synthetic forest. Honeydew with a milk chaser. Swap out the rhythm. Now the problem is this rhythm loop's got a drone in it. Here, let me show you. Yeah, there's like a Pipeworks Didgeridoo-esque kind of like drone in the rhythm loop. And so what that'll do is that'll be weird when I do transposition. So if I bring this bass back. So this rhythm loop's fine as long as I keep droning, but if I change it, let's drop it too. It kind of works because it's root, it's the tonic. You know, so there's a few places in the key that it still works, but if I go like here, that's a little too dissonant for me. Stay with the other loop. Let's put another, put a different lead on here. Happy. What, in your opinion, are the best aspects of the Push 3? Oof, that's a hole with no bottom. I mean, I shouldn't say the Push 3. Are you specific about the Push 3? Hang on a second. get some drones here. There we go. Those will just play in the background. All right. Mild and happy. That is true. Mild. Oh, God. Lee, so what is your opinion of the best aspects of Push 3? Let's start most generalized. I like grids. Like grid controllers, super fun. It's a lot of utility in a very small space because you can use it to play, but you can also use it to control what is playing loop-wise. For live looping, grids are awesome. Not because a grid is better than a linear keyboard, it's not, but a grid can be retasked to be a control surface, whereas a linear keyboard, you can retask it to be a control surface, but it's not as clear. So I like grids. And then the Push 2 I used for 10 years or however long it was out. Its utility is awesome. The Push 3 as an upgrade to the Push 2 is nice if you need standalone, but standalone, they're still cooking it. I use it as a controller. And so having a good feedback, both visually on the grid and within the screen, is nice. Having a bank of controllers is good, but obviously I've opted to have an extra surface here. But since that's just plugged into the Push itself, being able to add other control surfaces to it and extend it is nice. I've also got over here some sliders as well. I like it. You drink the Kool-Aid though, right? When you use the Push, you have to use the Push as they intended the workflow to be. Like there's an optimal workflow for Push, and there's variation. You can tweak it, and you could rewrite it using Max for Live or scripting. You could completely change its behavior. But I want to make music, right? I like making tools. I'm a bit of a toolsmith from time to time. But at the end of the day, I want to make music. And so this particular workflow works great for me. So I really like the Push. I think it's an excellent tool. It's a luxury though. Like, it's expensive. It's stupidly expensive. If you just want a nice grid control surface and then you'll add your own knobs on the side, go pick up a Launchpad Pro Mark III. It's way cheaper than the Push. But if you have the means, a Push is like buying a fancy car. It's nice to have, but it's a luxury. Hey, Gazinagons. And Perky Pat. So, let's see. What's going on today? So this is the perf rig for the foreseeable future. I've finally settled on something. I've stopped. Listen to me. Okay. Take your snapshots now. I'm done sort of rearranging the studio. I've had a week here where my wife was on vacation, and I tore it all down and rebuilt it several times to make myself into a place where I have synths that I'm interested in, and they're set up in a way that I can reach all of them. They're all more or less within reach, but I'm not sitting in a giant synth cockpit. I'm not sitting in a dark pit of synths, surrounded by a horseshoe of synths. Some people are into that, and I was totally into that for a long time, but Feng Shui is apparently a real thing with me, because I needed some sunlight to come in. But apparently not enough to have a real plant, so we've got the fake succulent going on there. So, hey, Will. A succulent Chinese meal, yes. Imagine that's a succulent. Yeah, so like for the foreseeable future, the rig is a Mini Moog, 4 Korg synthesizers, an Op6, a Wave State, a Mod Wave, and a Multi-Poly. And the reason that I'm doing those is because I can sit on the couch and do sound design on my laptop and then literally throw the sounds across to them, and load them up when I come in here to play. And so all of these are full of my sounds that I've been fiddling with or presets that I liked. I save those. And this is good, right? And the remaining synths in the studio all live over behind me, and they're all set up as little stations. So like when I want to play the old Ensoniq SD1, I can go drag my, drum throne stool over there, plunk down, plop in some headphones, and enjoy that synth, right? But I'm not going to agonize over whether all of the synths are plugged into the stream rig. I'm just having a minimalist sort of thing going on here. Lee says he's in the dark horseshoe and he's lost. That's okay. It's fun to be there. But I waffle between, is limitation a good thing or not? Like people say limitations help your creativity. Yeah, maybe. I think it depends on the person. And for years and years, I had every synth wired up into this thing. So I could just press a button and insert a synth track for any given piece of hardware in my studio. Every single piece of hardware was wired into the system. I have, I think at its peak, I had almost 50 channels of audio coming in, right, into Ableton. And now I'm down to 10. And 10 is the right amount. Because I'd be overwhelmed. I was like, what do I want to put in next? And I found myself just fiddling with sound picking. So now I don't even scroll through presets on these things. I just have some favorites set up on each synth. Like I have 8 over here and 8 over here and 8 over here. Right. And it works. Anyway, so synth philosophy, right? What makes a good synth, right? I want to put a drone in here. Hang on. Let me sustain that. Hold on a second. There we go. Yeah, I've been... So I was walking the dog this morning and I ran across a synth tuber who was going ape shit over trying to be family friendly. He was going nuts on the new Behringer DeepMind X or something like that. And part of his shtick is he's like over the top excited about stuff, and that's fine. But and so because he was over the top, he was saying this is the greatest. This is gonna be the greatest analog synth ever, and blah 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 blah. And that may be true, but from my perspective at this point in my oldness, and I know some of you are older than me, but there are no differences between synths other than the timbral landscape they cover, right? And then a bunch of subjective things that are very personal, like how usable is the synth. Like, are you a panel sort of person? It's like, I need one knob per function. I personally prefer one knob per function. If I have to go through a bunch of menus, like the extremes would be a Mini Moog, which has no screen and no menus. It's only got knobs and switches. Or a Waldorf Blofeld as a synth, these are both excellent synths, right? But the Blofeld, its panel is super minimalist, and it's as good as they could make it given the controls they were going with. And some people can fly on that thing and it works for them, but it doesn't work for me personally. So given my choice, a good synth for me is a synth that has a panel with a lot of control on it. I'm not saying menus are bad. I'm just saying for me, I get more music. Like, it depends on what your goal with the synthesizer is, right? Some people are like, I want to make noises, sounds I've never heard before. Awesome. And some people are like, I want to write a song and perform it, right? So depending on where you're headed goal-wise, what makes a good synth is up to you. But let's see. Tracy says, my music room has no windows. That's fine. So you make your own light. It's all from inner. It's your inner light, Tracy, that illuminates the room when you come in. You don't even turn on lamps, probably, right? Limitation is the mother of invention, except when it isn't, says Biscuit. Half God, half beast. So, yeah, there's something to be said about focus, right? There's some people have to wait for the muse to come, right? They'll go turn on their synths, and they'll sit down, and nothing comes in the first 10 minutes, and they're like, nah, it's not here right now, so they leave, right? And that's okay. I've certainly gone through phases where I'm that way, but I've also gone through phases where it's like, this is a craft, it's a skill. Sit down and do the bleeding work, right? And there's a certain amount of discipline that helps, but going too far in that direction will kill your output as well, right? Richard says the new DeepMind is the old DeepMind with a new paint job. I haven't looked at it yet. So did the Behringer DeepMind X, is that just the same synth? I don't know. I laid my hands on a DeepMind 12 for the first time last fall. I'd never touched one, and I went to a synth, we had a synth petting zoo. Someone brought a DeepMind. It's a nice synth, and it feels good, right? So is the new one exactly the same, just new paint job? It's all about the filters and the connectivity. Maybe they did a bunch of quality of life changes to it. Who is this YouTuber? Hey, Synth Samurai. It was you. I was watching your thing this morning. Mr. Over the Top. It was Synth Samurai. He's got a great video on the DX, on the DeepMind X, I should say. It is thoroughly entertaining. But it's like, it's also hyperbolic, right? Because that's the shtick, right? It's like, this is one of the greatest. No, I say this is the absolute greatest, analog polysynth, blah, 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 right? So that's man, let me know when your Slim Jim sponsorship comes through. So it's all good. Let's see. Lee says, for me, I still go day to day with the Access TI2 Dark Star for me, which is a gorgeous synth. So I've never touched a virus, and the reason I've never bought used or anything on a virus is because they don't support the software on the Mac anymore effectively. I think there's some open source projects or somebody selling something, but yeah, the support for it is not so good. What's the name of the guy who did the virus? His company's not even focusing on synths anymore. And when they asked him at a trade show, he's like, nah, we're doing this other stuff now. So that makes me a little leery of going towards the virus. But anyway. Hey, Quattro Pagino. DeepMind 12, $700. It's a good price, I gotta say. Klaus. Is Klaus the virus guy? Rustic. Hey there. Electron site is under construction, including registration. New gear coming soon. There you go. If you like Electron gear, man. I went through a phase. Electron is... I like it a lot, but I was thoroughly invested in the Ableton workflow, and I didn't feel like integrating that stuff. I went through a phase where I owned... what did I have? I had a machine drum, and I had an Octatrack, and they're great, and they have their own different set of limitations, but I held on to them for a year, spent some time, did not learn them adequately, and then ended up selling them. But I bought them used too, so that wasn't out too much. So Dr. Virginia is here. You're here lately, but you're just quiet and lurking. That's fine. On the Sunday streams are going to be more music oriented, so perfect for vibing and lurking if you want. So I think I did a half hour's worth of music this morning, and then I started talking. So we'll get back to that in a minute. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So what makes a good synth? So I get I don't know. I get grumpy around. Not grumpy. I get tired. Not tired, and tired implies grumpy. I get fatigued. Let's put it that way. I have synth quality fatigue. Like if you go onto YouTube, listen to me. I'm kind of whining. I'm generating fatigue in you all. There's this quality of judgment, right? Which is normal, but it's like, is this synth good? Is this synth good? What makes a good synth? I think these particular things are good. Analog, digital, blah, 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 all that stuff. I did a video a couple years ago on my framework for evaluating synths and comparing them. And it really boils down to, here's, synths make a certain amount of sounds, that vary across a particular landscape, right? Some synths, like Minimoog, has a pretty small landscape, right? It's got arguably a much smaller landscape than something like the multi-poly, for example, right? If we're going to go with old versus very new. But that doesn't mean something that covers a larger landscape doesn't mean it's necessarily better. It just means it covers a larger landscape, right? So, are you going to paint in black and white, or are you going to paint in color? Right? Some things, I've seen black and white photos that bring tears to my eyes, and I've seen color things that look like angry fruit salad, right? So more surface area, more options for creativity. No, I don't want to get into creative space. Comparing synths, keeping it there. The surface area, the capability of what kind of sounds a synth can make is not a measure of whether it's good or not, right? And all synths are good synths. And especially in the day we're in, where everything's interconnected, at the very least through MIDI, you can turn any synth into any other synth, basically, by just layering things together. So, I don't know. Rustic says, Electron is antiquated in the functionality. Electron is a mainstay of my rig. I wouldn't say it's antiquated. I would say it is groundbreaking, but now well understood, right? The Electron workflow, that is a known area, right? People understand. Nobody's discovering new corners of Electron behavior. I shouldn't say nobody. There are fewer new aha eureka discoveries of, you can use an Electron workflow like this, right? It's just a well understood problem, which is fine. Like, so are synthesizers, keyboard synths. It's a well understood system. But who knows? Well, it comes down to, does the company plan on, have they discovered something new, some new innovation that they're going to put forward? I don't know. Maybe. Innovation is nice, but innovation also is disruptive. Right? And if your job is to get some music done, having constant disruption is like constantly buying a new synth, right? And not learning the old ones. So it's okay. Piano landscape still delivers. Exactly, right? Nobody's complaining that I can't get this piano to sound any different. That's because it sounds really great, right? Let's see. Quattro says, checked minimum price 6,000 plus. Oh, huh? What is that for? Oh. Let's see. Lee says there's a 2022 Minimoog for sale near you, and it's so tempting. All right. The reason I think everyone should try and get their hands on a Minimoog just to try it, and spend more than 5 minutes on it. There is... part of me is the collector, right? So the collector says, oh, there's a legacy here that's very attractive and heartwarming, and I like Bob Moog. He was a nice guy, more or less, as far as I know. But if you just want the sound, I said this in the last stream too, if you just want the sound of a Minimoog, you have way too many options. You could try a million other things that sound just as good as a Minimoog. I know, heresy, but that's my feeling. But I think everyone should get their hands on a Minimoog and try it, because it definitely has a unique feel. Even though there are synths that are in the same format, SEO2, the Behringer Model D, same knob layout and things like that. But there's something about the size of it. It's not a small synth. It's not mini, right? It's chunky. If you've ever touched, I said this the other day, if you've ever touched a subsequent or a sub 37, look at the filter knob on it. It's bigger than all the other knobs. Every knob in the Minimoog is that big. They're all humongous, like giant things. I have giant hands, and I can put both hands on a knob and turn it with no problem. parameter locks are awesome. Parameter locks are interesting because they are a parameter lock is just, they're awesome. They're super useful, but they're not unique to Electron. Like everything has parameter locks. Like any synth with a sequencer in it, where you have a modulation lane on that sequencer, every step in that sequencer is a place where you can lock a parameter for however many tracks you have in that modulation lane. So there, I think Electron made the idea of having a sequence set of parameter changes, a la parameter locks. They sort of made that ubiquitous, right? They were like, they built their whole foundational of the Electron workflow is all about parameter locking. But it existed before them, and everything has it now. So, I don't think it's mystical. It's a super useful tool, right? Ableton put parameter locks. Anytime you can sequence parameter changes in any method, right? Every synth in front of me has parameter locking, except the Mini Moog. And I could do it across MIDI from another sequencer if I need to. So let's see. It seems like the Holy Grail. I don't know. Some people would say like the ARP, 2600, 2500, or CS80 for a lot of people is like the Holy Grail. Don't get me started on polyphonic aftertouch though. It's nice. It's a nice to have, but I don't think it's the greatest thing. It's every synth review I look at these days. Anytime anyone reviews a synth, if the synth doesn't have polyphonic aftertouch, they ding it. They're like, yeah, it's great, except it's got this one bad thing. It's only got channel aftertouch. Too bad. Maybe they'll add it in a firmware. That's like so stupid. Sorry. I know I've met, thousands of people on YouTube who play with synths, and I've met hundreds of people in real life that play with synths. And I have only met like less than 10 who can effectively make use of polyphonic aftertouch from an expression standpoint, right? It's a nice to have. It's definitely not a requirement. And you should never knock a synth because it doesn't have polyphonic aftertouch. That's just dumb, right? How much expression do you need? You've got a mod wheel, you've got external controllers, and if you've got channel aftertouch, you're good to go, right? I don't know. It's just goofy that people are saying this synth is good, but we're going to not give it an A+, we're only going to give it an A because it doesn't have polyphonic aftertouch. It's dumb. Right. The most expressive person I know who plays a, an Osmos, right? Out of all the circle of people I know who are very into expressivity in their playing, he plays an Osmos. He does a good job. Another person I know has a Hakan controller, although he wants to get rid of it. And then, Jeff, are you still in here? Is Jeff Hopkins? If he's in here, he uses a breath controller, right? Which is inherently, that's a joke. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to see someone advertise a synth that supports polyphonic breath control. So you got like 6 tubes coming out of it, and so you could have 6 people all breathing into the tubes at once. So polyphonic breath control. That's the logical extension. If the synth is truly good, it's got polyphonic breath control. Let's see. Electron seems stuck, says Rustic. They'll do their thing. That's, as long as we're talking about synth philosophy, I will eventually get back to making some more music here, but I guess it's turning into a little soapbox. I don't want to rant about this, but the tendency for people to be sort of have expectations that things have to change or that things have to come in firmware updates. If something is released and has bugs, I expect there to be bug fixes. Absolutely. And I think you should expect bug fixes. But when a synth reviewer does a synth review and then says, maybe they'll address these shortcomings like not having polyphonic aftertouch in a firmware update, it's like, just go make some music. So, anyway. CS80. Yeah, CS80 is awesome. Yeah, Kent How many CS80s is Kent sitting on? Like 6 of them? But he does repairs, right? So people send them to him to be fixed. MPE and Poly After are such a clown show objection. I don't know. I mean, if you're, let's say you're a synth tuber and you're really a player and you do a lot of expressive stuff, I would listen to you if you talked about MPE and Poly After Touch, certainly, right? And if you dinged a synth in the context of it's not great for you because you actively use it, great. But like if Bo Beats says this synth's not as good because it doesn't have Poly After Touch, Bo's a good guy and he means well, but he's not an amazing player and he's not a super expressive player. So, you know, but maybe he's presenting it as a points off sort of thing. Maybe he's placing himself as a surrogate for a very expressive player. I don't know. It's like I'm dangerously close to bitching about other synth tubers, which I shouldn't do because I'm not in their shoes, right? Signution, hey there, are you new? The next Soma pipe. Soma makes interesting stuff, I gotta say. But what was the one, the tree one, the one that's like a slice out of a tree trunk? I was on the waiting list for that, and I really love the sound of it. But I wasn't paying attention, and I thought it was an analog device, and I was like, that sounds amazing for an analog system. And then the waiting list, my name came up, and it said, I got an email that said, hey, do you want to buy one? And I was like, I have some questions, and I was like, it's purely software based. So basically they just have a Raspberry Pi or computer embedded in the wood, which is fine. I've got a Korg in front of me that's the same way. It's got a Pi inside it. But for the price, I was like, I had second thoughts. And so I emailed them and said, are there any plans for you to release that synth engine as a software instrument? They were like, no. And I was like, all right, well, it didn't make fiscal sense for me at the time, so I passed on it. But Soma makes great stuff. I think whoever's doing their software design should move into the software space. They will make a ton of money if they were to sell a software instrument. But they are definitely into we make art pieces, and that's fine. The Soma respirator. You guys are goofy. You can't change keybed with firmware. That is true. Although, what is it? Talk to, who is it? Udo? They're selling a new keybed for the Super 6. Not firmware, but it's kind of like an upgrade. It's upgradable, which is kind of cool. Oh, can you hear the truck? The sanitation truck is here to pick up the recycling. Say hi to Elora if you can. Hi, Elora. How's it going? Are you enjoying your morning? Is it sunny there? It's sort of rainy here. So Elora is Jeff Hopkins, one of Jeff Hopkins' children. Let's see. All right, well, welcome aboard, Signution. Thanks for speaking up. The Soma Terra. Yeah, that was it. The tree synth. I don't know what Flux is. The Soma Flux. I'll have to go. I haven't been looking for new stuff. I'm like on a sort of buying hiatus. Anyway, all right, enough bric-a-brac. Enough of this chit-chat. Let's make some more noise. Let's clear this all out. All right. Where are we? What do we want to start with? Do we want to start with, instead of doing a Minimoog lead, let's do a Minimoog sort of, hang on a second. There we go. That's very classic Minimoog. We've got a shimmer reverb behind it. Bob never invented one of those, boy. But I bet he heard one before he died, and he was like, nah, it does sound good. Very John Carpenter. Drop everything an octave. A little too much reverb on there. Hang on a minute. Let's see. Tracy, what is that a quote from? Is that from a Carpenter film? Why don't we just wait here for a little while and see what happens? What is that from? I've seen a lot of John Carpenter films, but I don't know that one. I actually watched The Thing yesterday. Is it from The Thing? What part? Where is that in The Thing? I missed it. I've only seen it a couple times, so I'm not at a point where I'm... Because that movie still frightens me. It's the closing line? Really? Huh. I'll go look at it again. All right. So let's start with that. I don't like horror. I'm at a point where I like cozy films now, Biscuit. I will occasionally look at them. Scary things. I don't like, I'm okay with monster movies. If there's a monster, I'm fine with that. But all the horror films that are like humans doing atrocities to each other, you know, Saw and all that. Yeah, no, I can't do it. Okay. Let's record a little bit here. We'll do something a little on the droney side. I'm going to slow this down a bit. Is that a push standalone? Yes, it is. Although I'm not running it in standalone. Ableton's over here on the laptop. The standalone is getting better, but it's still not... Depending on what you want to do with it, it's not quite baked yet. Turn the LFO on. Sorry while I adjust this a little bit. All right. Hang on one second. I'm missing a control here. Hang on one sec. quick change to the set here. There we go. All right, we'll leave that running there. Mini Moog, I think it's down far enough that it's out of tune slightly. Bring it up an octave. They should have gone ARM, Biscuit. I hope they do. They can potentially. The device is just a control surface with a computer behind it. They should be able to, if they abstracted that API well. All right. Okay, we're gonna go for mild here because Tracy likes mild. Rustic says he needs a mini MIDI keyboard. This keystep lost a few notes. I don't enjoy mini keyboards, but the one I like the most when I do have to use them is the K board, the letter K board, which used to be made by, what's his name? Guy out in California. And like in the last couple of months, they spun off the K board division to be a new company, and I can't remember its name. But if you search for K-board, there is a indestructible 2-octave mini key keyboard. I really like them. It totally is. I've got 3 of them, and I can't reach them. They're in the closet behind a bunch of wires. But you can abuse the heck out of them. I just take them, throw them in my laptop. I've tossed them across the room to people, and they've missed. They just they advertise them as being indestructible. They are indestructible. They're great, and they're pad based. They feel like these. It's not actually keys that move. It's not mini keys. It's pads in the shape of a key. They're great. And they've got one that's purely MIDI, and they've got one that's MIDI but also does CV out. It's cool stuff. Obi 6 or Prophet 6? I hope you're asking the room because I don't actually have an opinion on that one. As I said earlier, like I only own one Prophet. I own a Prophet 12, which is digital, which is the Heresy Prophet. Right? I think a lot of the Prophet owners that love their Prophet for its analogness, they look at the Prophet 12 and go, right? So I don't really have a choice there. I do like the Take 5 though. I don't own one though. I played it at NobCon. I did not like the Trigon. I tried that. Not a fan. Keith McMillan, that's the guy. Keith McMillan Instruments or Keith McMillan Designs makes the K-board. but they recently spun it off. So I don't know if it's a division of Keith McMillan with a new name or if they actually sold it to someone else to make. Hopefully the quality's still good. But they have continuously improved that thing over the last 10 years. Like, they redesigned the hardware over time, and it just got better and better. And it was good at the beginning. I think I've got an early edition and a more recent edition. If you buy one used, make sure the early editions had this rubberized coating that gets sticky over time, but the new ones don't have that. And they actually sell a hardware shell conversion kit. So if you do buy an old one, you can buy a new enclosure that's not the sticky material. They're a good company. Keith McMillan does it right. Do I want to sell one? Mine are all sticky. You'd need to buy a conversion kit. But send me add a comment on, drop me a note or put a comment on here if you're interested. I mean, I could, but I have 3 sitting in there and I don't use them all. They're just inertia is keeping them in my closet. Hey, Audrey. Yeah, the sticky rubber stuff. The Push 2 had that problem. My pushes, when I sold them, were starting to get a little tacky around the edges. But the Push 3 doesn't have that. They got rid of it. Hey, Wookie. We're just doing a little droney thing here. Let's change this. Let me add a loop to this. Delay. Put a little beat behind it too. Just quietly. Lee says your Push 1 is like a ball of glue now. I traded mine in. When the Push 2 came out, they offered a deal where you could trade in your Push 1 for a Push 2, and they would donate the Push 1 to schools. So all I can imagine is there's a bunch of schools out there with sticky stacks of Push 1s in the closet. All right. Berkey says, your Matrix boot is starting to feel slightly tacky. Yeah, whatever that rubberized coating they did. They have learned, though, and so new products tend to not have it. What are the essentials you settled on, Rustic? You said you had to limit yourself to a few essentials because you were moving. What did you keep out? I'm curious. Biscuit says his microbrute is very sticky. Now, is that because the rubber is old, or is that a you problem? Half God, half beast. Mr. Biscuit, with your sticky micro root. If Wabbit was here, he would definitely have comments on that. Rustic, you're rethinking your entire approach? Okay, that's cool. Change is good. Oh, the knobs. Okay. I gotta say, the Brute synths, I really always like the feel of those knobs with the sort of octagonal, hard octagon kind of shape, or heck, I don't know how many sides it had, but I like that feel of those knobs. It was easy to grab those with one finger and just sort of turn it. But they had a lot of resistance as well. Here, we put a little, let me add one more layer here. Let's pick a new sound here. All right, wave state, what do we want to use? Now that'll work. Let's add a little reverb to that as well. Actually, no. I don't want another ARP. I want something I can play. There we go, a little violin. So there's an example, synth-wise, right? So the wave state plays, among other things, synth sounds, but samples. I mean, does that make it not a synthesizer because I'm playing an acoustic emulation? No. Right? And the sound of a violin is classic because, for reasons, right? It's a good sound. So you don't need to, when you go into synthesizer music, you don't need to eschew all of the classic timbres, piano, horns, violins, things like that. Just layer them in, right? Because let's face it, what we got underneath here is pretty synthy. And then adding even an emulated violin is interesting. Here, we'll put some violin in there really sparsely. Some empty space. We'll let a bar go by, and then we'll add another little phrase of violin, and then we'll just let that loop. That loop. The blue pads is what makes you think I'm in F. What am I in? I think I'm in D. I'm in D. So let's take this and let's transpose it down. The drone's going to stay the same. I gotta kill the Moog drone. Oh, and the bass line, that bass sequence is not scale aware. So we're getting a little thing outside the key. That's okay. Well, that means we can bring the Moog drone back. this. There we go. Now we can play with the filter. My Logify. Davey. Let's change this bass up a little bit. On the laptop swapping Omnisphere preset. Hang on one sec. One thing they've made a lot better on the Push 3 is editing clips on the surface here. Like I can do it from the laptop, but it's actually totally doable from here. Right, just say I want that note and this note, and I'm going to bring them up an octave. Done. Easy, easy peasy. Put a little chugging bass in here. There we go. Nope, helps if you actually get the length of the bars correctly. There we go, let's try again. There we go. Now we should be able to transpose this. On it here. tired. Ugh. Alrighty. They're not all winners. All right, let's bring some of this stuff out. All right. That was fun. Joe, look, I had to eat breakfast in my office. I'm sorry, dude. Today is the last day of my vacation. I'll be back at work tomorrow. Hey, Freakstorm. Thank you. All righty. I think we're good for now. Just had to do a little impromptu stream. Wanted to get some... put some time in on this rig now. I'm feeling pretty good. This is going to stay pretty solid for the foreseeable future. Eventually, they'll intersperse this with streams of other synths, but I'm not going to take this apart. I'll do like I've got a matriarch sitting over there with a modular half assembled into it. I'm going to do a stream on one of those coming up, but and I've got a whole bag full of guitar pedals that I want to get back. I was doing some shorts. I did like 3 of them a year ago, 2 years ago. I like the little shorts on like pedals with synths. It's like, here, try this pedal with a synth. This is what it sounds like. It's the closest thing to a review I do. I really don't do synth reviews, but and I'm not reviewing guitar pedals, but I have some weird pedals. It's fun to just hook them up. I generally just hook them all up to the Mini Moog or the subsequent and make some noise. So that'll come, right? Dr. Felix likes the modular. I know. The modular right now is in a place where I don't like to look at it because it frustrates me because I've got a module that's misbehaving. So I'm like, ugh. Like I'm in conflict avoidance mode. I don't want to think about it too much, right? Well, good. I'm glad you guys had a good time. It's all good. Hope the rest of your day's easy, or if it's evening where you are, hope the rest of your nights sleep well. And Rustic says, reduced rig is a circuit, an octatrack, a lemon drop, and a microfreak into an iPad. That's cool. I have a friend named Wabbit who does extensive iPad use with all of his other synths, though. Hey, Garen. Garen, you coming in at the end. You're on the train going into DC. So, Perky Pat, no problem. All right. Let's all move to Davy's potential stream today. Is Davy's stream running right now? Because I got to go I need my tea. I need tea and breakfast. And my wife is home now after being gone for a week. And so I'm going to go. She's going to watch bad TV and I'm going to watch old anime. I am binging. What is it? I like certain anime. My son's the anime person, but I'm hooked on a few things. I grew up with like the classics, Akira and Ghost in the Shell, that kind of stuff. But I never watched Neon Genesis Evangelion. I never watched that. And someone's video came across my feed and it said, why you should watch this. Here are some reasons, or I'll convince you in 4 minutes why you need to watch this series. And I was like, all right. I mean, the older stuff is a little too dramatic. Not dramatic, like cheese dramatic. Anyway, I started watching it and I got hooked. So yeah, Evangelion is very different. I was expecting stupid. And it's not stupid. It's like a mystery, really. It's interesting. Vampire Hunter D is awesome. Big fan. Evangelion is nuts. Well, I'm on I'm in season 1. I'm on episode 15 of 26. And so I think, and they're only like 22-minute episodes. I think I can finish them today while I snuggle up on the couch with my wife. I'll watch it on the laptop while she watches TV. Tracy, you couldn't get through it? I went in with low expectations, so I'm surprised. So, anyway. All right. Let me shut her down, and I will talk to you guys later. Ooh, let's see. Oh, I gotta reach the mouse pad. All right. Hope your day's easy, and I will talk to you later. See ya.